So I feel like some people have a misconception of self-love. Like self-love is hard work. Self-love is loving yourself when you don't feel like it. Self-love is looking at yourself in the mirror and finding something to say nice about yourself even when it's really hard. People that practice self-love is because they don't have it and they need it. And the only place you're going to get it is through hard work and through loving yourself. So, because I don't know, I saw an episode of Euphoria and they're just like talking about self-love, and the girl was just like, she's like, everyone says self-love, but I don't love myself. And it's like, yeah, if you don't love yourself, you need to practice self-love. It looks very different. Like sometimes it's being nice to yourself, taking yourself to a spa, especially if you're like really hard at work. Sometimes it's kicking your own ass, especially if you're like, might not want to get out of bed, making yourself get out of bed. And I know that can be hard with mental illness, but doing stuff to make it easier, like opening up the curtains. Vitamin D is good for your mental health. So if you keep your curtains closed, you're more likely to be depressed and not want to get out of bed. If you drink, that's a depressant. Like, it's okay to drink, but if you have issues with depression, that might be something that's not helping and making it worse. Anything you intake actually affects, like the people you surround yourself, even the TV you watch. If you watch TV that's like depressing, it's going to put you more in a negative mindset. So really being mindful of everything that you're intaking and setting boundaries. Self-love is hard work and it's worth it, and it's something you need to do every day, just like anything that you need to work on. Everything in life, you need to keep working on it until you're dead. And also people need to understand that happiness is a fleeting emotion. You're going to go through all the emotions. But it's a good reminder. So like when you're sad, know that it too will pass. Like you won't be sad forever. And I feel like a lot of depression actually stems from self-worth and not fulfilling your own needs. So trying not to be too hard on criticizing yourself. Because self-talk, like, you can also control that. That all goes into it. Because what I noticed through meditation is, we're all really our worst own critics, whether we're assuming people are saying things about us or... But yeah, practice self-love for yourself. Start with, small. Figure out the things you like. Going outside. Listening to music. If those aren't your things, which I think those are most people's things, it's actually good to go outside. I think in Japan, it's one of the other countries, I want to say it's Japan, I might be wrong, but there's some country where therapists will actually tell people as like a remedy for therapy to go outside and go on a walk. It is so good for you to go outside and go on a walk because we're all very much like connected through each other. So when you're around other people, it's harder to have your own thoughts. So we're kind of like, I feel like they've done a study where we're like kind of psychic-ish. Pick up on other people's thoughts subconsciously. So going on a walk, being in the woods, your mind will be more clear. And also moving, like walking. I mean, you could go running. A lot of people don't like running. But moving that energy helps. So like when you're angry, when you're sad, it helps work through like what you're going through, why you feel this way. And sometimes it might just be something like you just need to go on a walk. I know there's like depression where there's nothing, but like most of the time when I've talked to people that have depression, a lot of times it has to do with self-love and they're not meeting their own expectations. If it is depression that cannot be resolved with self-love and self-love habits, which I feel like that will be helpful even if it is like clinical depression, I would say try finding something that will help. Like anything we intake affects our body. So our diet affects our body. So if you're not into taking medication, I would say watch what food you eat. I know a lot of people that don't drink enough water can be depressed because our brain works with what we intake. So if we don't give our brain the right stuff, we can actually be depressed. just from our diet. So yeah. And I do know with like medication, it's more tricky with depression. Medication for depression, a lot of people I've talked to have had more negative side effects, or at least like, it might take them a few prescriptions to find the right one for their brain. So really make sure you have a good support system, because a lot of people that get depressed will isolate because they don't want to spread their sadness, and that can be in itself dangerous, because when you don't have a support system and you're just with your own depressive thoughts, it can be dangerous. That's where like people can have suicidal thoughts, and they might give into it more often because they don't have any outlet. That's my advice. Is like, if you're going to take medication, just be patient and have a support system a few times before you get the right medication. Because I have talked to people that had success, but like I said before, I'm sorry, I'm just really repeating myself, but it took them a few prescriptions before they found the right one. Or sometimes they'll find the right one, and then their body chemistry changes, and then they need to switch to find one that works now. So just being patient, communicating, and having a support system is really important with depression. People to seek out self-love stuff, because I feel like a lot of that has to do with it, but I know there is also clinical depression. Also, seeking out things that release endorphins, because that's going to help, like healthy things release endorphins. But like working out is a good one. I feel like for me, music and dancing, finding things that you enjoy personally. I love drawing and painting, even though I'm not good at it. For me, it's very therapeutic. Anything that brings you joy, do that and seek it out. And if you can't remember, like think of when you were a kid. That might help you find what you enjoy. Because I know there can be states of depression where you just don't feel like you enjoy anything. So that can be a way to get back to your roots. All sorts of mental disorders. But I know anxiety can be like Achilles heel to depression, because sometimes people have both. And anxiety can cause people to not go anywhere, can cause people to be scared. So really pushing yourself to get out of your comfort zone, because it might feel like, oh my gosh, this is the worst, I don't want to do it. But most of the time when you make yourself do it, you will enjoy it, you will be happier. Yeah, because just if you're always inside, you're not getting vitamin D, you're not living really, you're kind of just existing, and that in itself can be bad for depression. So making sure you push your comfort zone line. Sorry, I'm doing a really long talk. Oh, I was going to say, okay, sometimes you do go out and you will find that you don't like what you did. You went out, but the good thing about that is that when you do that type of stuff, you learn about what you like and what you don't like. So let's say I go to some group, I test it out, and I'm like, okay, this group's not for me. I'm learning about myself, and learning about yourself and what you like and what you don't like is a part of self-love. Okay, that's it. That's a wrap. Tell me what you think about self-love and all sorts of things that you do to practice self-love for yourself. Bye.